Now, we've been hearing that a lot from the former CEO of Eskom this morning as he appears before Scopa. But let's speak now and get more analysis on the appearance of Ruyter. And for that, we are joined now by energy analyst and also MD of EE Business Intelligence, Chris Yelland. Chris, good morning to you. Thank you so much for joining us. I think we're on stage 3 right now, which for a lot of South Africans, it sounds like a bit of reprieve. But we're still being load shed, and very soon we might very well go back to stage 6 because that's been a pattern that we're living with. For the average South African, listening to that appearance and what the former CEO of Eskom is saying, what do you think the message that we're getting there to the public really is?
Well, yeah, it seems that a lot of the efforts of Scope have been to try and extract from Mr. Ruyter names. They want him to name the names of senior politicians and or cabinet ministers, which he alluded to in his interview with ENCA. So far, Mr. Ruyter has resisted this strongly, and I see 2 reasons that he has given. And remembering also that he is indeed a lawyer by training, by background, I think he is very conscious of ongoing investigations by the authorities, police, in other words, the Hawks, who are investigating a lot of the matters that he reported to the Hawks and to his political masters. These investigations, he says, are ongoing, and it's not for him to reveal the names. He doesn't want to compromise these investigations. He's very aware that the investigations are ongoing, and he's basically referred Scopa to the Hawks. If the Hawks want to disclose this information, he says they should speak. Scopa should speak to the Hawks, but it's not for him to disclose it because of this ongoing investigation. That's the one aspect. The other aspect is, as a lawyer, again, I think he's very conscious of the litigation that he may be subjected to if he were to disclose names. And he didn't disclose names at in his interview at ENCA, and he's reluctant to do so now because there could be litigation, and having left Eskom, he would have to face this litigation himself. In other words, litigation is extremely expensive to defend. It can run into millions and millions of rands, very distracting over time, and I think he's very conscious of that. So for those reasons, I think he's very reluctant to give an answer, and he's basically referred Scopa to the Hawks if they want names.
Yeah, I mean, it's something that he mentioned right at the very beginning of those proceedings, and he talked about just the constraints that he faces and not wanting to compromise any of the various investigations that are taking place by the Hawks and forensic investigations that are taking place as well. But I wonder, though, and this is why I keep bringing in the issue of public interest, right? If for the South African we're going to get the answers that we need, and perhaps it's something to be said about even the questions that he is being asked by Scopa. Again, for South Africans, they just want the lights to be on. So what's the line of questioning then that we should be hearing as this appearance continues that will give South Africans some light into what's actually going on, particularly with the governance and operations of Eskom?
You're absolutely right that the focus of the questions is all about naming names, and I must say personally I agree with Ruyter. He says he's reported the matter to the authorities, to his political masters, and to the police and investigative authorities, the Hawks, that there are investigations in progress, and he doesn't want to compromise those investigations, and he doesn't want to compromise himself. To face litigations. He hasn't disclosed names in the past, and I think he's very unlikely to disclose them now. And the other names that he probably doesn't want to disclose, in fact, he definitely doesn't want to disclose, is where he gets this information from, because, as he also pointed out right up front, this may compromise, whistleblowers or people and put their safety at risk if it comes out who is reporting what to whom. So he's reported all of this to the police, according to him, and it's up to the police to handle it further. He's not the investigating authority or the police. And this also, as you rightly say, what is it that South Africans want to hear? Of course, we want to hear about an end to corruption. Oh, of course, we want to hear that the police are taking action. We want to hear that and this is where the police should come in and actually indicate, how far their investigations are, what they're doing, and put our minds at rest that the police are taking this seriously, that the Hawks are taking it seriously, that the justice authorities are taking it seriously, the prosecutors. That's what we want to hear about corruption. But we also want to hear, what is happening to the lights and keeping electricity on. But this is not a forum for that. This is SCOPA. This is not about keeping the lights on. Of course, South Africans want to hear about that, but they're not going to hear it in this forum.
No, and I'm not disputing that there isn't public interest in also, getting the names of who this high-ranking politician might very well be. And I'm wondering if, as the members of parliament really try to, I suppose, chisel down what he's put before them, if we're getting any closer. I mean, we certainly know that he's made submissions to the shareholder, which is the Department of Public Enterprises, is essentially also Minister Pravin Gordhan. Is that to say, from what you make of what we're hearing from the CEO, is that the high-ranking official certainly isn't Pravin Gordhan because he reported to him?
We just don't know, and he's not going to disclose, not even disclose, which ministers it is not. In fact, he doesn't want to even disclose whether the ministers are serving or not. And it's quite clear, I think, why he doesn't want to do that, because if he says that they were ministers but they're currently not serving ministers, it really narrows it down very clearly as to possibly who he could be talking about. So he is being very careful as a lawyer not to put himself in a position where, if he discloses certain people that it is not, it begs the next question and the next question, and ultimately it narrows it down to one or two, and he doesn't want to be in that position. But I think he's right. He's reported it not only to Minister Gordhan, apparently, according to him. He also reported it in the presence of the president's advisor, and to the head of the police, and he's done his duty according to him, and it's up to the police now to tell us what they're doing about it. If they want to disclose the names, it's up to the police. If they don't want to, the police don't want to disclose it, it's not up to the Ruyter to disclose it, I think. That's my view personally.
Yeah, Chris, thank you so much for your time. And always a pleasure speaking to you. Chris Yelland, of course, is the MD of EE Business Intelligence and an energy analyst as well, giving us his view on what we've heard so far from the former Eskom CEO, Ruyter, as he appears before SCOPA in Parliament.